Without the people of America, Mexico, figuratively speaking, would be eating cat food out of a can and living in a tent behind
Anda viviendo tiempo extra y anda de mitotero, viejillo chismoso, fufurufo argüendero. ¿A usted qué le importa lo que pasa en el planeta si le queda como una semana de vida a la neta? México se despertó, se puso buzo, caperuso. No es el México de antes que permitía tanto abuso. Ya no hacen con nosotros lo que les dé la gana. Ya no son los tiempos de Antonio López de Santa Ana, el güey que vendió tanto territorio mexicano, donde hoy vive tanto ilegal latinoamericano. Por culpa de un vendido el territorio se ha perdido. Por eso otro vende patrias aquí no es bienvenido. Una cosa es ser socio comercial a nivel mundial y otra muy diferente que nos quieran tratar mal. Aquí es bienvenido de cualquier país algún turista, porque México es la riata y no soy nacionalista. Tan solo digo lo que es. Ya es muy tu pedo si la neta no lo ves. Dirían aquí en México botellita de Jerez. Todo lo que nos desean que se regrese al revés. Hablo por los mexicanos al decir que no rajamos, que sacamos la casta donde quiera que vamos, que si hay puros frijoles pues frijolitos tragamos, y si no tienes sillas en el piso nos sentamos.
Mexicana es mi bandera. Mexicano hasta que me muera. Mis colores y mi tierra. Mexicano al grito de guerra.
Arriba el tricolor, mi país es un amor. Disfruta su sabor, de su tierra el olor, de su gente el calor, de su sangre el dolor, por su patria el furor. México es un amor. Que viva la raza de bronce y que viva toda mi gente mexicana. Acuérdense que un mexicano va a nacer donde se le pegue la gana. Deben de estar orgullosos de haber nacido aquí en la tierra del maíz, y que chingue a su madre al que no quiera este país. México va para arriba, ya se dio cuenta el mundo. Vamos a ser primeros, ya no seremos segundos. Quieren invadir México, qué mal me huele. El litio al mexicano, carnal, y es lo que les duele. Acuérdense de mí, por favor, guarden la canción. En unos años México será una gran nación. Acuérdense de mí, por favor, guarden la canción. En unos años México será una gran nación.
Mexicana es mi bandera. Mexicano hasta que me muera. Mis colores y mi tierra. Mexicano al grito de guerra.
Que viva mi raza de bronce y que viva toda mi gente mexicana. Acuérdense que un mexicano va a nacer donde se le pegue la gana. Deben de estar orgullosos de haber nacido aquí, en la tierra del maíz, y que chingue a su madre al que no quiera este país. Y yo soy Siek.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this. Be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law. Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles does not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material in use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S.
Isaiah
copyright law.
chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. That's how they run this place. Once we get together, they don't run shit. Got a lot to learn about being Chicano.
Yeah, Alcatraz, midget loco. Yeah. They never seen this coming, man. What up, Loom? What up, Oreo? 500 years of captivity. What else? Now they trying to tell us how we supposed to be, how we supposed to act, how we supposed to rap. How I'm brown, but my flow too black. Come on, y'all kidding me, right? Nike Air Flights fitted cock back fresh. Representando mexicanos on the mat. No estoy jugando, got bars like a battle on smack. But hold on, I'ma bring it right back. My people indigenous. I'm not sure if you getting this. By the time I'm done, you gon' be feeling this. I come from the people they call Meshiacha. I've been to the motherland, Chichen Itza. Seen the Mayan ruins, intellectual architects. Been in the cenote, seen ancient artifacts. Really? Cali is Mexico, those are the facts. They raped women, gave elders heart attacks. It was a battle, our people were outgunned. Took life and cattle, we were outdone. However, 2 wars proudly we take to the grave. Those we call our Independence Day. It's time to stand up, educate our people. Stay on our ground, let them know that we equal. We see your plan, but your plan is see-through. You can't stop my people. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm holding it down.
Yeah. Story with Mexicans, Mexicano. Gave birth to the word that we know as Chicanos. Aztec warrior, man, it's all in my blood. From the Tenochtitlan, that's the heart of the love. Now I'm Mexico City, that's a modern day name. Don't let the books confuse it to be a modern day slave. Gotta get your facts right and study the culture. Don't be like Cortez, he came like a vulture. Came to just steal and take away the land. He seen what we got and he was like, damn, who would've guessed it had to be a white man. Damn again, now we got stolen lands. They say go back to where the fuck you from. Man, this is my land, that's what you stole from us. I'm not Hispanic or Latino, I'm a Mexican. Man, fuck La Militia, you can have that bitch.
It's time to stand up, educate our people. Stay on our ground, let them know that we're equal. We see your plan, but your plan is see-through. You can't stop my people. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm brown and proud. Mexicano, I'm holding it down.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Hey, buenas noches, people. I probably confused some of y'all with the scheduled classes. I'm sure some of you guys remember that I've spoken to. I have a lot of material, and sometimes I forget it, and then I come back to it. So that's why this one needed to be brought out before I touch on the Hecatis or Libertas, because it relates, at least that's what I think. So appreciate you guys being here. All be revealed. What's up, bro? I may not have that many scriptures today, so forgive me. But hey, you guys are more than welcome to throw some in there. And I'll read them. You know what I mean? I just have I have video, and I have to read you something that I had showed you guys before, and I think it's important that you guys see this again, because it's it's a heavy thing here, man.
pay attention to this. Like, let me go ahead and do this here. Just pay attention. Let me read this. Proverbs 3:34. The Lord resisted the proud, but giveth grace unto the lowly. I think that's a perfect scripture for this picture. As you can see, who supposedly considers himself the rooster of the hacienda, keeping these other chickens European cooped up. Monroe Doctrine Revisited. I find something interesting. I see these other areas here, right? Like European countries coming over here, and he's like guarding, correct, right? But one country I don't see here is Mexico. That's one country I don't see here. Paraguay, Nicaragua, or Nicanagua, Ecuador. Now this one says Gulomuya. So I don't know if it's Gulf of Maya or Gulf of Mexico. I doubt it. But then you have these two squaring off, man, with Venezuela, Brazil, Chile, and Bolivia. Hey, what's your ak? Shalom, bro. Shalom, man. Good to have you here. Hey, shalom, sis. Good to have you here again. What's up, VTC? Anyhow, I want to bring this to your attention once more because, and I mean by revisiting is that they're Guatemala, right? They're revisiting Guatemala too. That's right, and then they're revisiting. They're revisiting. Look at that, Venezuela grab. Keep off. The Monroe Doctrine must be respected, he says. Must be respected, so he says. By who? Let's begin. As you know, I'm gonna try to go quick here, family. I'm tired, to be honest with you, but I wanted to get this class going. Okay, so let's pay attention to this here. This is hold on a second, okay? In case you guys don't know, there was all right. So maybe a lot of you don't realize that where you get your cement from, your the slab. You know what I mean? Like when you're gonna try to, build stairs or whatever, you need cement, right? Now, a lot of you don't know where it comes from, and a lot of you don't care where it comes from. But we're gonna find out where it was coming from and how these Republicans or these Europeans, right, indiscriminately, or not even, blatantly, are taking advantage of the resources from other countries, and at the same time calling those countries now terrorists. Now listen, if you guys have time, please like and share, if that's the least you could do. Because in this channel, there's a lot of enemies, more than actually people interested in listening. I know this for a fact. Now, I'm just gonna throw this out to you guys. There's a so-called school that teaches 12 tribe chart that subscribes to this channel. Now, I don't mind that, you know what I mean? Because you guys stay quiet. But you're using some of my ideas into your stuff. Why? Anyhow, you guys need to really reflect on what you're doing. You're watching me in secret, but you're learning some things from me in secret. Anyhow, let's go.
Estados Unidos se le terminó el saqueo y el negocio en México. Escúchelo por usted mismo.
Pendiente de la información. A ver.
En pleno corazón del paraíso natural y arqueológico de la Riviera Maya, la empresa Calica, hoy Sactún, explotó por 36 años y devastó 1.200 hectáreas de selva, ríos subterráneos, cenotes y manglares para extraer roca caliza y exportarla a Estados Unidos, provocando un desastre ambiental que destruyó la selva y contaminó agua y suelo en la región.
For you that don't speak Spanish very well, Calica is a American country, a so-called country from this part of town, this part of this land. I'm not going to call them American anymore. They, for 36 years, have been digging for rock. Okay? Complete authority by a president, a damn heathen, by the last name of De La Madre. No, de la Madrid. Pero yo le digo De La Madre, güey. From 82 to 88. This demon authorized an absolute authority for Calico to go in there and excavate and break rock. But this is not just breaking rock, family. Not like a area where it's like, far, no habitation, you know what I'm saying? Just like mountains. No. Absolutely not mountainous ranges. They had no consideration of the natural resource of the habitation of the history of our gente. Yes, they destroyed cenotes, I believe they call them. Let's listen in, man. So anyways, if you guys don't have a translator, I'm sorry, but this is a Spanglish channel. I'll do my best to bring stuff in English, as you know, but I do got to do a little Spanglish here. Obviously, I'm colonized on both ends. Let's go.
Desde el aire se puede apreciar la dimensión del daño causado.
See, that right there is not natural, okay? That is made by them. I need you to see this.
Debajo del agua extrajeron roca, la cual trituraban para exportar piedra, arena y grava por barco. Esa agua provenía de los cenotes destruidos, del desvío de ríos subterráneos y la retención ilegal de agua que alteró las corrientes, lo que trastocó todo el ecosistema. La actividad minera acabó con la diversidad del lugar, afectando 942 especies,
942 species were affected by this right here.
29 de fauna y 413 de flora natural, incluidas especies en peligro de extinción. Por varias décadas, la empresa Sactún realizó voladuras para romper el suelo kárstico hasta 11 metros por debajo del nivel freático.
More than 60 feet deep they were excavating. Okay, let's go.
El uso continuo de explosivos contaminó el agua con nitratos y otras sustancias que se filtraron al manto freático más allá de los predios de la empresa. Otra actividad ilegal de la empresa fue la retención del agua subterránea en 4.24 kilómetros cuadrados, más de 40 millones de metros cúbicos, cuando la concesión a la empresa fue por apenas 1.7 millones de metros cúbicos, es decir, que utilizó 20 veces más el volumen que tenía autorizado.
See this, family? Sorry about me not putting in mute. They went 20% beyond, or I don't know if it's the same exact, mathematical equivalence, but they went above and beyond what they were authorized to use. Now, there's no flexibility in this so-called country towards our gente who is legitimately from this continent. Not at all. You can eat the resource, rob, pillage, and steal to this very day, but then still call us now terrorists. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by still calling us now terrorists, because back then you would call us savages. Right? Let's continue.
Esto provocó el colapso de cavernas, así como hundimientos en la zona, incluida la carretera 307. De esta manera, la empresa Calica, subsidiaria del grupo estadounidense Legacy Vulcan, explotó roca caliza desde 1986, violando las normas ambientales y los permisos otorgados por las autoridades. No ha realizado obras de remediación ambiental en la zona, a pesar de los evidentes daños provocados a la naturaleza. Durante 3 décadas, la empresa Calica exportó cada semana 3.500 toneladas de roca caliza por barco, la mayor parte hacia Estados Unidos, algo así como 5.460.000 toneladas de piedra. Por su alcance, su dimensión y porque el daño es irreversible, la mina de Calica representa el mayor desastre ecológico causado por una empresa en la península de Yucatán y sobre todo en la Riviera Maya. En 2017 y 2018, tras una inspección, la Profepa determinó que la empresa Calica había hecho un aprovechamiento de roca caliza en superficie y temporalidad mayor al autorizado, por lo que se le impuso una clausura y sanciones administrativas. En respuesta, Legacy Vulcan, apelando a las normas del Tratado de Libre Comercio de América del Norte, presentó una demanda contra el Estado mexicano, con una reclama por compensación de más de $1.500 millones. Comprometido con la protección de un medio ambiente sano para todas y todos, el gobierno de México se mantiene firme en su posición de priorizar el interés público por encima del privado. No más devastación y saqueos.
Gobierno de México.
That's just one example of what has happened. In case you guys don't understand, in case you don't know, this year a lot has happened internationally, not just for Mexico, but for Central and South America. I am showing unity and the importance of the understanding of knowing your enemies and your enemies' tactics. To this very day, we keep seeing Venezuela and oil and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, people coming over here from Venezuela, and now they're being the so-called illegal aliens, even though they call us all, slap us around with Mexicans. But you see what goes on, el saqueo de ellos, just like here. So what I'm showing you is something important, because this year is 200 years of the Monroe Doctrine in effect, okay? And it expired last month. And I'm going to show you something extremely important that relates to that.
Joined a rally in Mexico City with President López Obrador to mark 85 years since the expropriation of Mexico's oil resources from foreign corporations.
México es un país independiente y libre, no una colonia ni un protectorado de Estados Unidos, y que podrán amenazarnos con cometer cualquier atropello, pero jamás permitiremos que violen nuestra soberanía y pisoteen la dignidad de nuestra patria. Cooperación, sí. Sometimiento, no. Intervencionismo, no. ¡Viva la expropiación petrolera! ¡Vivan los trabajadores y técnicos de antes y de ahora de la industria petrolera nacional! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México!
Now, why am I sharing this? I'm going to show you why I'm sharing this, okay? If you guys remember, I had brought this article out a long time ago about supposedly the Vatican rejects doctrine of discovery, justifying colonialism. Okay? So, after decades of demand by indigenous people, Vatican repudiates theories that backed colonial era seizures of lands, rescind the doctrine of discovery. As you can see, some of our brothers in the north are sharing. Okay? Now, keep in mind, when I show you segments of actions or political paperwork that they push, you tend to forget all the lives that have been dying for because of these things. For example, now here in America, or so-called this land, marijuana is legal, supposedly, on a federal level. How many people died in the 80s because supposedly it was illegal? And how many of those people were our gente? The Vatican has rejected the doctrine of discovery, a 15th century concept laid out in so-called papal bulls that were used to justify European Christian colonialist seizures of indigenous lands in Africa and the Americas. Let's remember here. They got their channels. In a statement of Thursday, The Vatican developed an education office that said theory, which still informs government policies and laws today. Let me see. In a statement on Thursday, the Vatican's Development and Education Office said that the theory, which still informs government policies and laws today, was not part of the Catholic Church teaching. It is said that the papal bulls were manipulated for political purposes by completing colonial powers in order to justify moral acts against indigenous people that were carried out at times without the opposition from ecclesiastical authorities. Now, do you guys remember what happened when they came with the cross? How nice that they said with political purposes, colonial powers, justifying immoral acts like rape, murder, lynching, burning, feeding babies to dogs, hanging us on hooks, throwing us over ships. Which one? Giving us smallpox? Which one? Starving us to death? Working us to death? Which one? The reason I bring this up is because the church is supposedly repudiating. Now, you so-called Christians from this so-called land here, yeah, you guys that tend to be on the European side, right? Even your dark ones too. You say you're about the scriptures, right? Say that. The Monroe Doctrine, why was it important? Why was the Monroe Doctrine important? You can see these links. It is extremely important to them. President Washington in this farewell address warned the United States to avoid entangling alliance with foreign nations, who at this point surrounded the new nations. As the United States started to expand and new independent nations in America started to form, it warned European nations basically to avoid doing the same thing with Western Hemisphere. This was the Monroe Doctrine. Supposedly, okay, so check this out. This is the trickery about these people. The United States required foreign assistance to gain its independence. Once that was accomplished, the young nations could not be totally isolated from the world. Trade with other nations, immigration, and dealing with foreign nations on its borders all showed that engagement would be necessary. This invoked various treaties as well. Now, here goes the point. But the small and budding nations also feared being overwhelmed by more powerful European nations and merely being a plaything in their many often violent conflicts. Thus, multiple presidents, starting with George Washington, promoted a position of neutrality, not taking sides, non-intervention, isolationism into European affairs. But obviously, that didn't happen, did it? It didn't happen at all. It went the other way. Now, the reason I'm making this important is because just last month, Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez leads colleagues to introducing resolution calling for an end to the Monroe Doctrine. Yes, indeed. All right. So now it says here. Velasquez introduced a resolution calling for the annulment of the Monroe Doctrine. The bill's introduction coincides with 200-year anniversary of the Monroe Doctrine, which has been used to justify American intervention in Latin American affairs throughout the policy's history. The 200th anniversary of the Monroe Doctrine represents the U.S. and the hemispheres with a chance to move past an outdated and ineffective foreign policy strategy. From drug trafficking to mass migrations to climate change, the many shared challenges between the United States and the Latin America cannot be addressed by the antiquated Monroe Doctrine. They are some of the most pressing issues of our time, and they call for the process that stresses respect and cooperation. It says, for more than 200 years, the United States has used the Monroe Doctrine to justify paternalistic, damaging approach to relations with Latin America and the Caribbean. As a result, the legacy of our nation's foreign policy in those regions is political instability, deep poverty, extreme migration, and colonialism. It is well past it is well past time we change our approach. We must recognize our interconnectedness and admit that the Monroe Doctrine undermines the partnership, needed to confront the complex challenges in our century. This must become better neighbor. That is why I am proud to join Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez to adopt an approach to foreign policy that advances our collective interests and builds a stronger coalition in Latin America, and the Caribbean. Now, to summarize it, they want to implement what's called a good neighbor policy. Okay. But even then, you still got to really, really pay attention. The Monroe Doctrine has done this. The termination of all unilateral economic sanctions imposed through executive orders. You see this. So every time you see a sanctioning in this continent, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Guatemala, Honduras, the termination of all unilateral economic sanctions imposed through executive orders by the Monroe Doctrine or through the Monroe Doctrine as well, and working with Congress to terminate all unilateral sanctions such as the Cuba embargo mandated law. Huh. The new legislation to trigger the suspension of assistance to a government whenever there is an extra constitutional transfer of power. So this prompts declassification of all United States government archives that relates to past coup d'etats. Ooh. Prompts declassification of all United States government archives that relate to past coup d'etats, dictatorships, and periods in the history of Latin America and the Caribbean countries, categorized by a high rate of human rights crimes perpetrated by security forces. Wow.
Who are you?
Wow. The reason they're asking for this is because it actually is happening. Now, I know, listen, I know you guys don't give a shit, okay? I know you don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Whether it's 2 viewers, 1 viewer, 3 viewers, I don't give a shit. Listen, this channel started with 15 people. And I'll tell you what, I will still be writing with 15 people, damn it. Because you know what? These things don't matter to you guys, man. You just want some pump and some fire and all that. But when I give you actual facts, you don't give a shit. Man, I don't understand some of you people, bro. Like, you see all these other channels with all these other nations, man, and they're quick to watch and support and push. You Raza don't give a shit. Yeah, you don't, man. You're a selfish nation. I'm going to be real with you. I'm starting to really wonder about you guys, man. This is disgusting to me right now. You know, I don't know, bro. Here's why.
So I'm going to use tonight as an opportunity to
these are things to like just overlook. Like it doesn't matter. Like, oh, it's not important.
So I'm going to use tonight as an opportunity to lay out.
No, like it's not important. Like, whatever. These things are real. These things did happen. And they continue to happen to our people. And the saddest thing is, I don't know if it's the algorithm. I don't know if it's because y'all don't give a shit. But you know what, man? I pray that if it's time for this channel to really start finishing off, I pray that it happens now. Because you know what? A lot of us exhort and try our best to really help you guys understand, man. But I'm so blown away by how there's other channels with so much stupidity and there's so many views. Y'all don't care. Una pinche cerveza, güey. Unos tacos, right? That's all you guys give a shit about, bro. It's a sad story. The Doctrine of Discovery was the law of colonialism introduced in North America by the European powers in the early 17th century. This is from a book called the literal and legal genealogy of Native American dispositions, the Marshall Trilogy, cases, indigenous people, and the law. The doctrine was a legal fiction, meaning fake, drawn up by colonial powers to divide the globe into spheres of influence. The papal bull is exactly where this is coming from. In its essence, it was a legal veneer to the appropriation of both lands and people, while simultaneously maps were drawn to maps were drawn up to manage potential conflicts between European colonial powers. By the symbolic act of planting a flag in the ground of newly discovered lands, England, France, Spain, and Portugal laid claim to the territory not only in North America, but around the world. The doctrine had its genesis in international law drawn up by the Holy See in the 16th century. It was based in 7 papal bulls issued in the 15th right here. Issue here, I'll highlight it. Let me highlight it. Papal bulls largely incorporated, issued in the 15th, 16th century. Papal bulls, I'm going to do it blue. Papal bulls largely incorporated the language of dominion and conquest. The bulls were issued to the kings of Spain and Portugal to convert, subjugate, and enslave non-Christian lands, first in West Africa, and then in the Western Hemisphere. The bulls Ramus Pontifex, Nicholas V, January 8th, 1854, started it in part to the king of Portugal, Alfonso Carlos V, which is why his chocolate, because he's dark. So we know now that these were not just so-called white folks. Where therefore, here, as a matter of fact, let me skip this. No, let me read it. Where therefore, let's go. I read this before. Let me try to not use some time. Hold on. I read that too. Okay, here goes. The rights created. Here goes right here. Okay, here's the point right here. I want to make also. The rights created by the Holy See gave legal justification to Spain and Portuguese explorers. This conversion established the pretense of legality to the appropriation of lands, their peoples, and their cultures with the mere symbolism of arrival, the cross. In a sense, that's why they said, quote unquote. The alleged legal rights incorporated into the papal bull were later used to establish the doctrine of discovery, a doctrine that formed the legal basis to the U.S. Supreme Court ruling of Johnson and McIntosh. In this legal court case, the relationship between international law up until the 16th century and the decision of Johnson ruling in 1823 cannot escape the accusation that it offered a pretext for conquest in the guise of Christian domination. Same concept that you so-called evangelists are still believing that, oh, God's gave America. Shut your damn fool's ass up. It says here, the relationship between the international law until the 16th century and the decision in the Johnson ruling in 1823 cannot accept the accusation that it offered a pretext for the conquest in the guise of Christian domination. Stephen T. Newcomb in Pagans in the Promised Land, really, decodes the papal bulls to reveal how the framework of religious domination was sanctified as a legal doctrine, a doctrine which, while becoming law, was derived from religious assertions of what rights European colonial powers could impose on so-called heathen or non-Christian people. So remember, we were the so-called heathen. So when the Bible speaks of other people being heathens, it means that they were supposed to be the Israelites. But didn't the Christians say they were converts? And didn't they say that the laws were done away with? So why would they want to convert us in such a lawful way? Because we were supposedly sinning, but they were converted without the laws? I don't understand, Christians. Make it make sense now. But let's continue. Because I'm not the heathen. You're the heathen. That's for a fact. Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Hey, stop it. Sorry. The central premise of U.S. Indian law and the policy, okay, that the United States, here, let me just finish, that the United States had plenary, virtually absolute, or let me read this. The central premise of U.S. Indian law and policy that the United States had virtually absolute authority over Indian nations on the basis of the discovery of the North American continent by the Christian people. Will be revealed as truly bizarre. I'll explain to you. That premise, I contend, is fully in violation of the presumed separation of church and state in the United States, and in violation of the presumption that Christianity is not to be preferred in U.S. law over other religions. Newcomb reveals that the subtle. Let me pause for a second. Doesn't this country say you have the freedom of religion? But yet this country wants to say, oh no, we are not church driven. But at every moment, you still want to be church driven. Let me continue to show you why. To me, it's bizarre because you're literally like supposedly the Constitution was written for separation of church and state, but then you go into court, use the Constitution, and then the papal bull, who the Catholics wrote up, but you evangelists are not Catholics. Newcomb reveals a subtle yet profound decoding of the doctrine of discovery in American context, a religious undercurrent that was embedded in international law until 1823. The international law of nations up until 1823 accepted, whether directly via papal bulls or indirectly by orders issued by the King of England, that heathen lands were subject to conversion and domination based on their non-Christian attributes. But I thought you said Christians. I thought you said that God, that Jesus did away with the laws. So did he force you, his understanding upon you? Did he show you the cross or the sword? Did he come do that to you guys? What gives you the right to do it then to us? What makes you more Christian when you don't even keep the laws? Robert A. Williams Jr., the American Indian in Western legal thought, the discourse of conquest connects the pragmatic English acts in the relation to their American colony and the law of nations based on Christian domination over heathen. William writes, as reflected in the Proclamation of 1863, this imperial discourse accepted the necessity of peaceful purchase of frontier Indian lands under strict pragmatic approach to Indian affairs. Imperial policy ultimately rested on the ancient demanding foundation of the superior rights of Christian Europeans in lands held by normative, divergent, non-Christian people. The English crown, by virtue of English discovery of the infidel occupied lands of America. That's why you have that dumbass West African Candace going around saying, you native Indians. You mean the ones that smoke pot? You mean the ones that eat people? Yeah, that one, okay? That's why they look at you guys like that. Infidels, heathens, wetbags, spics, Mongols, mongrels, mamzers. What else? What more do you want? Oh, illegal aliens? You mean proverbs and bywords consistently from other people who are not from here because they get above you very high and you come down very low? The English crown, by virtue of English discovery of the infidel occupied lands of North America, asserted the feudally derived prerogative rights to of the conquest over North America. The doctrine of discovery is a framework of colonial conquest transposed within the Holy See of religious piety and English legal justification. The sum of these two religions, so every so-called dumb Mexican that goes to these Catholic churches and you go and you kiss your padre in the hand, you're basically letting them rape you in the butt all the time. That's what you're doing. Because you don't realize that this religion that they brought to you did this to you. Have you guys never thought about that, dumb Christians? Have you never thought about how they came here with the sword, yet they teach you that the laws were done away with? Were they forced to convert into Christianity by the Messiah or the disciples if supposedly John 3:16 is for everybody? I don't see no John 3:16 when they came here. For God so loved the world, he sure as hell didn't love us. Let's continue. The sum of these two religious and legal sources understood the nature of laws of nations up until the Johnson ruling in 1823. It is hard to avoid this harsh judgment of the doctrine of discovery, as it founded the legal and religious justification of colonial conquest in North America by the major European powers during the 16th through the 20th century.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Not only did the doctrine of discovery provide a religious and legal veneer to colonial conquest, you see this? Not only did the doctrine of discovery provide a religious and legal veneer, meaning it was nicely painted, covered up to colonial conquest, it also denied any rights of lands or culture to the indigenous peoples who preceded the European incursions in North America. Watch this. Because many people, like, I'll give you an example. Let me pause right there. I'll show you.
I'm from a small town in South Texas. And if you know your history, Texas used to be part of Mexico. Now, I'm ninth generation American. My family never crossed a border. The border crossed us. So when Donald Trump calls us criminals and rapists, he's insulting American families. My father is not a criminal or rapist. In fact, he's a United States veteran. When Trump cruelly mocked a disabled reporter, he was also mocking my special needs sister, Lisa, and many like her. When he said that a wife who works is a very dangerous thing, he not only insulted me, he insulted my mother, who worked as a special education teacher for 30 years, raised 4 children while being a wife.
Not so much the song, which I like it, but it's the point. In the United States and in other Western settler colonized states, the rule begins with the doctrine of discovery and its discourse of conquest, which denies fundamental human rights and self-determination to indigenous tribal people. In the United States, the doctrine has proved itself to be a perfect instrument of empire under the rules and principles of federal Indian law derived from the doctrine. The United States acquired a continent in perfect good faith that its wars and acts of genocide directed against Indian people accorded with the rule of law. Let this sink in for a second. That means for everybody that died at the hand of this Anglo and this Negro, because they're in cahoots, and the Khazars, it's completely legal. A close reading of how the doctrine of discovery was incorporated by Chief Justice Marshall in the trilogy case is offered in this chapter. At this conjuncture, it is important to take a measured look at the doctrine of discovery as a basis of religious and legal domination over indigenous lands and the people, not only in North America, but throughout the whole world. Equally, once an understanding of what the doctrine of discovery meant and how it was derived as or realized, one can also understand how European superstates, clothed in the trappings of the Holy See, look that word up, the Holy See, okay? And English law, the Holy See and English law, look it up, developed the discourse of the laws of nation. Look that up as well. Giving you guys some hints. A discourse that formed an important part of the discursive archive. Situated the Marshall ruling in Johnson 1823. You guys need to read about that. You need to read about this ruling. Because it's going to really help you understand what they mean by pagans in a promised land. Pagans in the promised land. This is important because we hear this demon from India, who I don't know what the hell is wrong with this guy. I mean, you out of all people have the nerve. Your damn parents are fucking immigrants, man. What the hell's wrong with you? For real. Okay, so now let's listen. You guys think I'm joking? Oh, it doesn't matter. Fine. Look at what he's going to invoke once more. And this is a way of expressing authority, subjugation, superiority, and reminding you that you're also a heathen. Remember, he's a Hindu. Don't Hindus say, oh, we all want tranquility. No, this damn Hindu wants to kill you, man. And I mean it in a very spiritual way. Because look what he's going to say.
My foreign policy vision for where we're going in the next generation of our engagement on the global stage, and it will revive that spirit of Nixonian realism. It is why it was important for me to be here in person today, to make this announcement here in the Nixon Library, where much of that wisdom resides. We live in a moment right now where actually, they say the worst ideas in Washington are bipartisan. Our engagement in the Ukraine war continues to prove that, if you ask me. But the way we're going to actually do this is by transitioning from an era of neoconservatism and liberal hegemony to an era of realism and unapologetic American nationalism, where we stand for our national interests on the global stage. The North Star of my foreign policy will be the modern Monroe Doctrine. Combined policy will be the modern Monroe Doctrine. Policy will be the modern Monroe Doctrine, combined with Nixon's doctrine. The Nixon doctrine was that other nations have to be the first protectors of their own national security. I agree with that. We will revive that. And I combine that with the modern Monroe Doctrine, a doctrine that we will re-implement under my watch as U.S. President, which says that if you're a foreign nation, you do not mess with the United States of America on our own home soil. You do not test us on our waters or in the Western Hemisphere. And if you do, you will have hell to pay for it. No Chinese spy balloons flying over half the United States.
First of all, I want to say this. Who gave you your dumb Indian authority to speak this way? And what gives you white people the nerve to think that people nowadays are going to sit back and let you fucking talk like this shit? What is wrong with you guys? You understand? And this is the problem with our gente. You so-called Hispanics, you guys are, I don't know what's wrong with you. Maybe somebody pissed in your head or some shit. But you're so focused on some other stuff, you don't even know what's going on right now, man. This guy's literally saying he's going to subjugate you once more. Once more. Do you not understand what that means? That they can go into your lands or your gente's lands and get rid of your gente. Now, this is where the stupidity comes in. He says China, right? Oh, it's because of China. But he's also threatening the nations next door. This is a Hindu. A fucking Hindu whose parents are immigrants. But you so-called Hispanics who are of this land, this continent, you sit back and you shut your mouths up. And you let them say whatever they want and walk all over you as whatever. He really said that, bro. He really said that. Let's hear it again.
Waters or in the Western Hemisphere. And if you do, you will have hell. Will re-implement under my watch with the modern Monroe Doctrine, a doctrine that we will re-implement under my watch as U.S. President, which says that if you're a foreign nation, You do not mess with the United States of America on our own home soil. You do not test us on our waters or in the Western Hemisphere. And if you do, you will.
Our waters or in the Western Hemisphere. So hold on a second. Who the hell gave you guys? No, you're not going to reinvent. You're not going to do none of that shit. You're not going to do none of that. You're going to try. But you see, what we're seeing is that your powers are about to finish. Those are the facts. And you cannot fool nobody anymore. Your own people are calling your dumbasses out.
Will have hell to pay for it. No Chinese spy balloons flying over half the United States. No Chinese spy bases off the southeast coast of the United States. No Chinese manufactured fentanyl in the hands of Mexican drug cartels waging a modern opium war on the United States of America. But it also means that we will not fight somebody else's war if they're not actually defending their own territory either. The first accomplishment that I hope to deliver in my foreign policy agenda as U.S. President will therefore be to end the Ukraine war on.
Oh, you think? Okay, well, him and this other idiot over here saying it in a different way. Look. These are official threats. I don't know why.
Terms that advance America.
Don't pay attention. You're so eloquent. You so-called white folks, man. You're so eloquent to say, nuke those people, nuke those people, nuke those people. They don't deserve to live. But you're supposedly Christians that Jesus opened the doors to because the Israelites weren't letting you guys in because you were heathens because you didn't keep the laws. Help me wrap my mind up around this assumption of power. Let's listen in again. I hope you guys are listening, man.
Would you support sending U.S. Special Forces over the border into Mexico to take out fentanyl labs, to take out drug cartel operations? Would you support that kind of American military use?
Yes, and I will do it on day one. Here's the thing. The cartels are killing tens of thousands of our fellow citizens. You want to talk about a country in decline? You have the cartels controlling a lot of part of your southern border. We have to reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son took one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would.
See the word terrorist. Terrorist. So now you're terrorist.
Joining me tonight, retired Air Force Special Operations Commander Glenn Ignacio, Chad Wolf, former acting Secretary of Homeland Security. Gentlemen, good to see you as well. Look, Chad, is there any reason to look at the cartels as something other than a foreign army or a de facto army like we looked at the Taliban in Afghanistan?
Well, I think there is. I think there's ample reasons to really start looking at them in a different light. As you indicated, the death toll, the misery that they impose on Americans every single day, I think it deserves some extra attention. And we've admired this problem, frankly, for too long, for decades. We've tried to treat this as a law enforcement issue, and we've approached it that way, and we just haven't had the success that we need to have. So we need to start thinking out of the box, and we need to start looking at other options. As I've indicated, all options should be on the table. We shouldn't take certain options off that table. And if that means using military force, if that means doing a variety of things that maybe some Americans are uncomfortable with, I think it's prudent to actually start exploring those ideas. And everything here, Leland, that we're talking about is designed to put leverage on the Mexican government, to have them do more. They are a compromised actor here, but they need to be leveraged to a point to where they're uncomfortable in doing things that they otherwise would not do.
Right. And look, the argument always goes the Mexican government is a sovereign country. They get to do what they want. They've got a say in this. I know during the Trump administration, they certainly did more. But you think, Glenn, about the Sinaloa cartel, 20,000 soldiers, earns $3 billion annually. The Gulf cartel, 10,000 soldiers. Cartel Jalisco, New Generation, 6,000 soldiers, on and on and on. Far better armed, far better equipped, far better trained, far better motivated than the Mexican military. How heavy of a workout is this, or how heavy of a lift, I should say, in military terms, to go in, whether the Mexicans agree to it or not, and start taking out the kingpins, sabotage operations of their grow houses and their manufacturing operations of fentanyl, and make them start worrying about their own lives in the way that ISIS terrorists did and Al-Qaeda terrorists did do as well?
See that now? Now you guys are Al-Qaeda. Now you Mexicans are terrorists now. Now, what happened to typical so-called Muslims? Everybody assumed they were terrorists. What name are you white folks going to use on us? That it seems like you're trying different names and it's just not working. So now you want to call us terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, the best way we could do it is to work by, with, and through the Mexican government. You know, that'd be something to train the Mexican military. But as you said, the corruption at the highest level is the most difficult, and that would really wipe that out. But if you label them a terrorist organization, that means anybody that supports them in any way is supporting terrorist activities. That means naval blockades that stops the fentanyl precursors coming in from China. And that opens up a whole game of direct action that would be very surgical from probably special operations and JSOC, or Joint Special Operations Command. That would be high-value targeting, surgical strikes to take out the people that are at the top.
No. Surgical strikes are like, sniper. You're going to bomb people, or you're going to try to. So, again, the president from Colombia said, what is happening in Palestine is going to happen here. I think I'm kidding.
I feel like Predator drones and some of the video of the Ninja missiles are coming. We have some of it from how they took on the operations in Syria and Afghanistan. Chad, describe to
See? Now they're relating us to them.
us how, you think of the way ISIS, say, controlled parts of Syria. They were the de facto government. Are we right to look at the cartels as the de facto government in part? Are we right to look at the cartels as the... Describe to us how, you think of the...
See the big words, treating cartels as terrorists. Remember that whole propaganda?
The way ISIS, say, controlled parts of Syria. They were the de facto government. Are we right to look at the cartels as the de facto government in parts of northern Mexico?
I think that is right. They are certainly control ungoverned spaces right there in northern Mexico, miles away from our border. And we just don't see that normally. It usually occurs in Afghanistan and elsewhere. But that's what we have along that border. They are better equipped, better armed. They have more power and more territory today than they have ever had. And that's a concern from Americans. And when we talk about the fentanyl crisis and we talk about 100,000 American deaths, that is a clear and present danger to the United States that we need to take seriously.
Hey, dear white people, it's your fault. Stop using drugs. Just say no. Isn't that what you told us Hispanics and blacks all the time? Just say no. Well, guess what, white people? Just say fucking no. Stop doing drugs. Stop being depressed. If you're depressed, go get a job. I don't know, go work out, or I don't know why you guys are depressed. Us Hispanics should be the most depressed people in the world. I have no idea why. Yeah, Lord willing, man, Yahoo's gonna jack them up, bro. But I'm not. Yo, listen. The only reason why you guys are drug abusers, drug whatever, is because you have absolutely no huevos, cabrones. Life is a little hard on you now. All of a sudden, oh my God, I just want to give up. Us Hispanics should have been doing this a long time ago. But you know what we do? We get up every freaking morning and we go do the do. There's no such thing as depression on us. Maybe we have a few, but we don't deal with this crap. Who keeps asking for drugs? The highest consumption. Now, what's so funny, family? Why don't these people fight against these liquor, alcohol pushers? Do you guys not know that 150,000 people die every day of alcohol abuse? That's not even counting the ones that kill while drinking and driving. That's not even the matter of fact. If you think about it, about 70 to 80% of the crimes committed have all been related to alcohol. But no, fentanyl's the problem. Hey, nothing over here. You keep drinking beer, alcohol, Bud Light, all that shit, even though it's promoted in your face every single time to our children everywhere, right? You can be 18 and kill, but you can't actually be 18 and drink. Isn't that stupid? If you go to the military, you can. Legally, you can. But you can't drink. Now, here's the funny part. Again, we know what's even worse? That alcohol is the biggest destructor of all. And you guys don't give a shit about what it's doing to your people. Now, let me ask you another thing. Who the hell started this whole fentanyl problem? Oh, there you go. See, man, you're reading my mind, bro. Oxycontin right there. Bam, right there. It was a Khazar. It was a so-called Israeli, a so-called Jewish person that supposedly is of the Bible. Oh my God, he's all loving. Put him on a pedestal. He said, I don't give a shit. It's not addictive. He lied to the FCC. He literally lied and said, oh, there's less than 2% addiction rate. If it's beyond 2%, you're not going to be able to get that on the shelf. This was beyond 2%. They were seeing an addiction rate higher, almost as high as alcohol. Now, check this out. The addiction rate of alcohol is about 10%. Why are they still selling it at the shelf? Because it makes a lot of money. That's why. And the only reason these guys want to go into supposedly Mexico is for the lithium. It's for the oil. It's so then they can implement, again, the Monroe Doctrine, man, all over again.
And again, continue to admire this problem and just kind of throwing our hands up and saying, well, it's the way it's always been. I don't think that that's what Americans want out of their federal government. So we need to have some options. You can look at cyber operations. You can look at cyber warfare. We really got to get creative here and start
In the wake of the attacks in Israel, border officials say they've seen a growing number of people on the FBI terrorist watch list trying to enter the country through the southern border.
You hear that?
Rocio De La Fe has the details.
Border Patrol officials say that between October of last year and September 30th of this year, 151 migrants with positive terrorism watch list matches were arrested after crossing into the U.S. illegally along the southern border.
The number of known or suspected terrorists, or anyone connected to one, entering the country illegally through the southern border is at an all-time high. That's according to government data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
We ought to be concerned.
You see this, family? Now, look what they use to suggest terrorism, but yet, kind of like mix it up within our cup.
Concerned about the high number of migrants who carry with them the intention of doing harm to us.
The figures show that in fiscal year 2023, CBP arrested a total of 154 non-citizens on the government's terrorist screening watch list. 151 of those individuals were arrested along the southern border. The numbers are up from 98 in the last fiscal year. The numbers represent a small fraction of all migrants processed at ports of entry. Tonight, I spoke with legal analyst Dan Eaton, who has been following the migrant crisis closely.
This is actually a sign that the system is working, that the Department of Homeland Security is doing the work it was meant to do when it was established in the aftermath of the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
A hit on a database doesn't necessarily mean a person is a known or suspected terrorist. They could be related or associated with someone linked to a terrorist organization. CBP officials tell me that every individual that arrives at the San Diego sector of the border are run through a series of databases. Eaton says the filtering method.
Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually, the terrorists, but they may be related to them. But didn't they go in with the story? What did they say? Listen, some people may be related to them. Some people may not. Oh, well, let me show you something. It's this, to me, it's like, bro, this sounds too familiar.
Join me tonight.
It sounds too familiar. How in the world? Wait, do I have the same one? What the hell, man?
In the wake
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did it already. Hold on. It sounds too familiar. Watch this real quick.
It's all our fault.
Look, check this out. Okay? Sounds very familiar. To me, at least. Because here, I'll show you. Let me go down some real quick. I just find it so funny that it just sounds so familiar.
Is now the fourth.
Which one's this one? Right here. Okay, check this out.
I'm gonna go faster in this one. All right, let's go.
United States bombed 73 locations in Yemen last night. Are shipping containers more important than human lives in Yemen last night? Are shipping containers more? Britain and the United States bombed 73 locations in Yemen last night. Are shipping containers more important than human lives? Joe Biden is now the 4th US president in a row to have bombed Yemen. Britain has had a role meddling, invading, and airstriking Yemen since 1839. Today we are in a situation where the war on Yemen represents a continuation of the last decade of war in the country. It's believed 377,000 people were killed. 85,000 children are believed to have died of starvation across the last decade or so in Yemen thanks to the British and US-backed war. During that period, British trained pilots dropped British-made bombs from British-made planes with targeting help coming directly from British officers. You even had the use of British-made cluster bombs which were produced in the 80s but are now considered illegal. These were used by British-backed forces on the people of Yemen. The main company which benefited from that war in this country was BAE Systems, with around $20 billion worth of sales to Saudi Arabia. BAE Systems launched an advertising campaign at the time aimed at children, where aircraft technicians, the very aircraft technicians that would be operating on the planes sold to Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen with, would be reading children's stories.
Once upon a time, a father and 2 children lived by a lake, next to a deep, dark forest.
We cannot forget that components for the F-35, which Israel is using in its genocidal war on Gaza, are produced in this very country. We look at Israel sniping women in a church in Gaza. The components for the sniper rifles were sold to them by the British, and the very sniper rifles themselves were sold by the British. We also are constantly being told that this is about protecting civilian life. Are all those ships that the Yemeni armed forces have intercepted civilian?
Isn't that what they're saying to us? Excuse me if I didn't mute it, but isn't that the same thing? We're protecting our people.
The very first ship that the Yemeni armed forces seized in the Red Sea was a vessel known as the Central Park. The Central Park was owned by Zodiac Maritime. Now, Zodiac Maritime is a British registered company owned by the Offa family, the richest family in Israel. This company...
I remember that Zodiac Maritime because it relates to my class of Hecates. I'm telling you, man, it's all connected, family. Let's go.
And this family were revealed by the Times newspaper over a decade ago to be ferrying elite units of Israeli intelligence across the region to carry out assassinations. Zodiac Maritime is an arm of Israeli intelligence. So when the Yemeni armed forces targeted them, they had reason to believe that those ships were being used for Israeli surveillance. But we also need to look closely at the military contractors tasked with protecting Zodiac Maritime ships. The company is none other than British security and intelligence firm Ambry, a security company which is staffed by former high-ranking employees of the British Ministry of Defence.
If I would have showed you who owns Calica, you would not be like, what the hell? What the hell? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So check this out.
It's all our fault.
They keep repeating themselves when it's like what's happening over there. I'm like, you guys keep saying like, oh, you guys shouldn't do that over there, but I reflect on what has happened here and what is happening here, and you're doing the same thing.
It's not all our fault, but when you send your military for 6 straight decades into other countries to bomb them, kill their children and women and innocent men, prop up dictators, you take responsibility for your actions and say, to the extent that that region...
That religion goes back 1,000 years before our revolution, so I don't think we can take all the blame.
I don't think we should. I think we should take a lot of it. And there's lots of bodies and corpses that have been piled up in the name of Christianity and Judaism.
Not recently.
Have you heard of the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza for the last 50 years, motivated in part by extremist views of Judaism or the wars in Europe? Lots of religions, not just Islam, produce violence.
The liberal view that all religions are alike because it makes you feel good.
No, it makes you feel good to say our side is better. Those people over there are primitive and violent.
No, it makes you feel good to put a crown on your head and say, I'm a good person. How do I prove that?
You get to ignore the responsibility that your own government has for the violence and instability in the world by saying, look, it's that primitive religion over there that's to blame.
It's all our fault.
Is it like, isn't that what they said? We're non-Christian savages, heathens. You know, we don't matter. Now I'm sitting here laughing at you people of these lands right now that claim to be American, but you're not. You're Europeans. You are criticizing the actions of the Israelis over there. And you feel so bad about what they're supposedly doing to our brothers Palestinians, but you don't even see your own shit. You literally don't see that what's going on over there is what you guys have done at all. And to me, I find it so, I don't even know, man.
I can't wrap my mind around it. It's like, oh, look what those guys are doing. This is so horrible. It sounds just like what happened here. All right, family? Let's listen. Let's listen in. And let's go.
IDF soldiers have t-shirts where they have pregnant women in crosshairs that says 1 shot, 2 kills. Like, these people are fucking sick. Yeah.
Is there a photo of that
Yes,
anywhere?
there is. Look it up. IDF soldier pregnant woman t-shirt. They also have crosshairs of babies. Not only that, but on top of all of this happening, you have colonial settlers who come down and they're cheering them on. They're like, this is the best show in
Colonial settlers. Colonial settlers. The discovery or the doctrine of discovery constantly mentions colonialism. 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 You're sitting here telling the Israelis that they're settlers, colonialists against our brother Palestinians, but no te ves el pinche tronco de tus propios ojos, güey. Let's go.
town. They're sitting there drinking coffee and beer and just cheering on this massacre that's been going on for 4 weeks.
Really? Like what's going on at the border? The separation? Do you guys not realize how many people are dying crossing Arizona? Do you not realize how many people are dying because you guys want to get high? How many children are being abducted because you guys want to get laid? Yes, pedophilia is a big deal here in America. And you guys are the highest consumption of child pornography in the entire world. And the nerve of you.
Look at this.
There it is. 1 shot, 2 kills.
Wow.
Yeah. So stand with us and all these other organizations that work on the behest of the Israeli government to try to smear anyone who criticizes it. Your time is up, man. People are waking up. You can't just keep executing people on camera and getting away with it. So now seeing this, I don't know how they're getting away with it. I don't know how people have not woken up to this, but the media, the way that they're covering it is atrocious. They're saying there's clashes. They're saying that the Palestinians are dying of head wounds. It's like, no, just say that they were executed with sniper scopes. Like, this is deliberate. But the way that the media plays around and uses this passive voice is just nuts. Whether it's Palestine, Venezuela, Syria.
Palestine, Venezuela, or Syria. You brothers and sisters need to start paying attention of why it was important for the Most High, our Father Yahweh, to allow us to see the actual migration from the east to the west. There was nobody bringing that out ever to Yah. It was only around Africa, and the Most High, I'm going to say it like this, was the one, he gave me the huevos to bring it out, because no one wanted to go against that doctrine. And to this day, that what I've shared, it's standing strong, because nobody can knock it down. Not one person from BHI has the nerve or huevos to come in and tell me I'm wrong in that migration. We went around Africa. You want to know why? Because what I show is actually more clear and legitimate than what they can. Let's continue.
Yeah, whenever you have like complete media uniformity just peddling a line, probably the truth is.
See, probably the truth is elsewhere. Is elsewhere. Hey, I'm gonna finish it with some of these things. Look, watch this. I'm almost done, family. Check this out. So now, again, it's coming from all angles. Okay, Eric Adams accuses New York immigrants of committing crimes now. Now, our gente is committing crimes now. So he makes a big deal about supposedly our people committing crimes, right? I don't gotta read it. You guys can see it. Adam to implement curfew at 4 NYC migrant respite centers in response to the neighbors' complaints of panhandling. We committing crimes?
These 2 tourist women call them.
Even in another country, civility is not something that you guys really have a wrapped around mind of.
Ari and Jane have gone extremely viral after going to this nail salon in Indonesia, receiving great service, but when it came time to pay, they tried to run. The staff refused to let them leave. The two backpackers then got extremely aggressive, blackmailed the salon with bad reviews, and even got physical with the employees.
I'm coming to give you the money. Relax yourself. Understand? Let me tell you something. Look, let me tell you something. I'm trying to be reasonable. Y'all, I asked you several times. Let me outside. And now you're trying to get money. You don't know what I'm going outside for. Why were you trying to hold me hostage? Did I get any service?
British and American, now identified as Chancellor A and Andrew C.W., then attempted to escape the country, but were arrested at the airport, paraded down the streets for the cameras, and now face up to 3 years in prison.
We're the criminals, huh? No, yeah, for sure. I already know, bro. I already know. I mean, it's you know what I mean? It's like, bro, for real, man. Any chance you guys want to, any chance you get now, all the propaganda is just against our gente, bro. Like, I know that, I'm sure there's a few, man, but don't try to make it seem like it's a brush out across the board. We know exactly who you guys are. You're not lying to us anymore. Let's go.
Nobody can touch us.
Okay.
Nobody can touch us. Nobody can touch us. Nobody can touch us.
Okay.
Nobody can touch us.
Do you need to go to the hospital?
Nobody can touch us. No, I do not. I'm perfectly fine.
Okay.
Rewind that. I'm well.
Okay. Well, they would not like you in the store anymore, so you need to leave.
I will as soon as I get what's rightfully mine.
And what's that?
$200.
For what?
For me. I'm actually worth more than that. I'm negotiating with you right now.
Okay. We're not negotiating anything.
Oh, yes, we are.
No, I don't owe you anything.
Oh, yes, you do.
Okay, what do I owe you?
Damn. Your whole life, if you want to ask.
Okay. Okay, so Rescue's going to come check you out.
They're going to tell you that I'm fine.
Okay, and that's fine.
Actually, they're going to tell you that I'm well.
Okay. And then we're gonna have you leave the store. Back up from me. Back up from me. Back up. Now, back up. Back up. Not even don't step it up. Get back! I will pepper spray you. Back up. Now. Back up!
It's gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt me. I am God. My people run this universe. My people, I am God. It's not gonna hurt me. I am God. My people run this universe. I am a goddess. My people run this universe. You're not gonna do nothing to me. You're not going to do nothing to me. You're going to bow down to me, I say. You're going to bow down to me, I say. You're going to bow down to me, I say. Go on ahead and lock me up. I'm still not going to sit down, and I'm still not going to be quiet. Do what you please.
You need to leave right
now.
now.
No, I will not. Right. Give me my $200.
I am now telling you to leave or you're getting arrested for trespassing after warning.
That's fine. I don't want to be here anyways.
Okay, then
I just want what's mine.
Leave.
No.
Leave.
No.
Now.
No.
Okay. You're going to jail. So.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yep.
No, I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Huh. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you better than I can tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to show you better than I can tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. I'm going to show you.
Back up from
you
me.
better not touch me.
You better back up from
You
me.
better not touch me.
Back up.
You better not touch me.
Back up.
You better not touch me.
Back up!
You better not touch me. You better not touch me. Oh, that's fine. Oh.
Yeah.
Did you say?
Check this out, family. And then I'm gonna call it a night. All right, let's listen.
Out of California, where this white guy is just being so racist to a Latina, telling her to go back to Mexico, and he doesn't want to hear that Mexican music. Listen to this.
Your parents came here from Mexico. Why? Better here. Well, you gotta listen to Mexican music. Your parents came here from Mexico. Now I gotta listen to No, my parents are 5 generations in America. That means like 200 years. America. Listen to this shit.
You want to hear illegal alien?
Well, you can go back to Mexico. It's a good country.
Hey, what's American music? Because if you're talking about country, well, that's our shit. Cowboys, that's our shit. If anything, we taught you white people that. because you don't know how to sing. You don't know how to. You don't know none of that. Cowboy, vaqueros is ours. Country music is ours. What is American music? Your loud ass rock and roll? Shit, you took that from the Africans, I guess. Let's go.
No, it's not racist. You can go back to Mexico, but you wouldn't because America's better. Go back to Mexico.
Back to Mexico, you Mexican bitch. The cartel. A white guy who supposedly said 200-year history. I'm going to read you something from some book that I got. I'm not going to name the name, but I'm going to read it to you. It's on page 13. You know who it is, VTC? When Christopher Columbus and his crew of 1,200 Hispanic and African descent crew set sail on his second major voyage to the New World in 1494, Columbus's forces landed off the northern shores waters of present-day Dominican Republic. On board of the 17 ships were men, women, and children, along with provisions of food to include animals. Built the first colonial town in the Western Hemisphere called La Isabela. The town survived for a number of years until the colony was beset by mutiny and mismanagement, hurricanes, and human disease. Eventually, the town fell into ruins as the settlers died as well. The archaeologists agreed that a substantial number of people who inhabited La Isabela, but settlements during later voyages of Christopher Columbus' crew were both free and enslaved African descent people. The archaeologists also have debunked what modern-day Americans envisions what they have been falsely taught, that Christopher Columbus was a barbaric white man who exploited the natives for greed. However, with this new evidence, not only did Christopher Columbus and his force have Hispanics people in his forces, but also Africans that explored right along with him. Damn, man, this is horrible editing. Anyhow, let's continue.
Well, thanks to the Nesh, we found out this guy is Clayton Morgan from Escondido, California. This is exactly
Wait. This around me. Let's go.
How white dudes just show you how stupid they are. He's been drinking too much of the white Kool-Aid along with those Voodoo Rangers to realize how stupid he sounds when he talks. I'm sure he's never heard the phrase, "We didn't cross the border crossed us." A lot of where you're standing, buddy, used to be Mexico. You're the fucking invader. My family has been here 200 years. Yeah, colonizer. Look at the indigenous people behind you. They could probably trace their roots back to this land thousands of years. You don't want to listen to Mexican music that's filled with so much rhythm and such amazing words and such great messages. You think their ancestors wanted to hear the shitty-ass music your ancestors brought to this country? What, with bagpipes? That's how every bagpipe sounds to me. But seriously, this is the United Statesian in a nutshell. He looks disheveled, he's drunk, he's not educated. All he has is that white supremacy arrogance, and that's all he needs to get through his day. I'm sorry for the employee who went through this, and fuck this guy for everything he did.
All right, family band, I love you guys very much, man. You guys take care. Shalom, all right?
Que toques el cielo, pero no el suelo, así que créetelo. Quítate el velo velozmente, bro. Vívete tu sueño, pero despierta a la hora que toca. Esa hora, motherfucker, wake up. Yo me meo en tu cubata antes. Bebo, matar ratas, son tan. Vaya al bosque a lo Tarzán mientras enlazan. Fraternidad en casa con su polo, colisteras, trenas. Se han dejado en el desván de su pensar un mar de ideas. Con grandes ideas ardiendo en chimeneas antiguas. Ríe Dios al ver que te santiguas. Su mente y su luz son ambiguas como mi voz. Lo que para ti es un don, para mí una misión fija. Mis versos son de ninja, tu poesía para que en mi barrio me conocen más que tú a tu enamorada. No hay payasos, solo en anémonas de gárgola. Andrómeda eres. Conserva tu celular, primigenia, eso no podrás volar. El virus se llevó a unos cuantos, pero el ego a más. Se elevó el más a la opulencia, digo, ciencia. Debajo el Satanás en el espejo, Jesucristo, la conciencia del flash. La tierra y su paz están vibrando. Los sentimientos son la trampa que están manejando. Los hilos de los cuales tú y tu ego estáis medio colgando. No es que yo sea un superdotado, ni tú un tonto. Solo lo que tú sabes de mierda yo sobre el cosmos. Que los tuyo y profundamente sano me lo tomo. Si no ya hubiera ido a visitar al doctor. Porque no soy devoto, mucho menos un santo. Yo jamás voto, pero dale que asalto. Cuando en verdad sé que tendría que sudarme todo la polla, pero pienso que hay que vivir por algo. Que en el letargo cure lo enfermo. Sabor amargo, remedio eterno. Me pregunto a toda esa gente que le he hecho y canalizo desde el cielo un verbo así.
Yo, comentando, ¿qué dicen? Sí, ¿qué cuentan? Ya, escúchame, ya. Los medios cuentan que si hay libertad de prensa, la mordaz es cosa escasa y todos dicen lo que piensan. Y esa sutil es impresa y repetida diariamente tiene contenta tu mente con yo soy combate y fiesta. Presta el control, Tarantino no es tan gore como los crímenes de amor que a toda hora se nos muestra. Pues tal vez la estrategia impuesta, pánico en el público y manejarás el cuesta pal. Político en vez de patrullas se mete camilla para un hospital, como si esa mierda de tombo no diera seguridad. No será casualidad que el otro dueño del canal sea el otro sobrino pero bueno de un primo hermano pariente papá. Que esa nostalgia no es noticia, su codicia se evidencia. Propicia violencia y plástico, panémicas belleza. Fútbol, patriotismo falso, culos, vasos de cerveza. Pele cáncer pa' tu mesa y el domingo en misa pesa. Sobre su cabeza pesa el atraso mental del pueblo. Oposición vendió trasero, dictador, grupo Romero. Pero se confundieron acá, la palabra es cruda. Autoeducación en camino se afloja la lucha a través de cultura. Es como genera de uno, tal vez otro loco se suma. Ya saben, cortina de humo que explota la mina que mata la cuna. Primo, vengo que trate la friuna, no una pura canción de aventura. Así no censura, emite basura, no le conviene que sepa verdura. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en milis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. ¿Qué? Hay extorsiones, robo, violaciones, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en milis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará.
Sensacionalismo, amigo eterno de la prensa, el mismo que forjó al humano sumiso, callado y muestra. En el noticiero, en el artículo del diario, la vida de una bebé que poco invierte
al vecindario.
Sirven como fieles feligreses a oscuro intereses, mienten todo el día, crían, crean solo estupideces. La historia afirma, indica que siempre negaron información alternativa que todo pueblo merece. A cada instante pareciera su labor asesinar una memoria colectiva que hace una nación, con una prensa cómplice que juega con humor, desconociendo ese dolor que nos dejó ese dictador. Cortina de humo es su mejor función, para apartarte de la fuente harán de todo, pues miró hoy como venderte el culo de Sharon Stone, cagándose en tu derecho a la objetiva información. El narco, el almirante, el presidente, el congresista, algún ministro, algún negado, de seguro es el patrón de ese periódico morboso y amarillo que al leerlo 2 minutos te vuelve en un show. Los medios son culpables, responsables de toda propaganda basura que te ofrece la TV. Pues será mejor que se autoeduque, pues my friend, porque el comercio de los medios te carcome hasta las 100.
Hay violaciones, extorsiones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en milis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en milis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará.
CPF.
y cal. Hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.